I'm a specialist in remote viewing communication, interspecies communication, which should get interesting very soon. Um, I've been trained in all the psychic skills. I ran a business very successfully for 40 some years. That business is still in existence. Um, High profile, profitable. I do not run it any longer because I ran out of enthusiasm for it. So that's what I'm going to discuss today with you. Your enthusiasm for what it is that you are doing. If you have been doing something too long, chances are that you're an intelligent person and that you're bored. And if you're bored, you're no longer going to be vitalizing that business or that project. That happened to me, and I had to leave because I was going to take it bankrupt. So make sure that you do not lie to yourself about how you really feel about your business, because believe me, your bank account is going to tell you soon enough once you lose interest. One of the interesting things about Elon Musk, who is obviously the most successful business person on the planet at this point, and maybe ever, is his enthusiasm for things. Sometimes a bit of over enthusiasm means that he can get tired. But that enthusiasm, that love that he has for what he does, and that love that he has for the people that he does it for, which is all of us, look what it did to his bank account. And if we will probably see in the coming years things in which he's no longer as interested, and they're no longer going to be as wonderful, as profitable as all of the rest of that. Pay attention to that, because it really doesn't matter the level of your income, your socioeconomic level, your education. Okay. Machi, we know you agree. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry about that. One of the things I do in order to lighten up my life, which lightens up how I earn a living, is having pets. They keep me laughing, and they keep me with my heart open. And when your heart is open in terms of your business, you're going to make more money. That opening of your heart is going to energize your business, and the people that touch your product, even if they never meet you, are going to benefit from the fact that your heart was open. My heart's going to close very quickly if that keeps bothering. He's not supposed to be doing this during the session. We're going to continue. So this is the second session that we've had on prosperity in the midst of chaos. If you probably did not see the analysis I did of the new logo at Twitter. After my initial shock of, I want that bird back, that blue bird, I want that bird back, I went, this guy is very gifted. He's very intuitive. He knows what's coming down the pike before it comes down the pike. That's what my ex-husband also used to say about me. He knows. He's not going to be making a mistake. This is not an erratic, I had too much to drink over the weekend. And when I looked it up, it turns out that the logo represents what he wants to give us. And it's there on Twitter in one of my posts, on X, one of my posts. And it is totally metaphysical, it's totally symbolic, and it is an emphasis on the earth element and prosperity together with female wisdom. So when I say you need to be in love with what you're doing, it's not wise to think that you're going to be able to make a ton of money or continue to make a ton of money if you're not in love with what you do. Somehow, everybody could sense it when they touch your project. And I'll tell you another little story as I'm waiting for you guys to wind down for this session. The business that I ran that's still in existence 54 years later, we used to sell bridal gowns. And we would get them from the designers, and there would be a dress, and then it would sell a lot, and then it would stop selling, another one would sell more, whatever. We used to take orders from these samples. And I remember one of the salespeople saying, I think these dresses have horoscopes. She didn't know anything about astrology, and neither did I. She said, because for some mysterious reason, this dress, all of a sudden, everybody wants it. And it's not newly advertised. The price hasn't gone down. It must be the planets. This would have been 50 years ago, 45 years ago. And I remember I took that in. I went, that's true. What changed? Same sample, same dress. And things don't change quickly in bridals, which is probably one of the reasons I was successful. I'm a Cancer. I'm a not slow learner, slow for change. So bridals was good. They don't change every 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, so what's that all about? But when I checked, because I knew the designers of the dresses, the dress that had just picked up sales when it had been sitting there for 6 months and nobody wanted it, and we took no orders on it, the designer fell in love and was happy. The designer was happy. So the dress had a different vibration, even though that dress was hanging in my store for 6 months. The designer never saw it again. He never saw that one. He did the original sample, and then they reproduced it. I had a reproduction for 6 months, but the designer's life changed. So everything that was associated with him changed, including samples that were not selling. All of a sudden they sold. And when I checked, the samples that had gone down the tubes and the companies that we were no longer selling as much, nothing to do with our situation, the designers or the owner of the company was not happy. They got a divorce. They fell out of love. They lost the head person who ran their company, and they didn't like what happened next. Whatever, something changed negatively. It was pretty big. And that change, that energy, that vibration, that frequency landed on the dress in my store 6 months later, sometimes a year later. So everything you touch will turn to gold if you're vibrating gold, even if you don't have a penny. And everything you touch will be on its way down if you don't really love it. It's like being with somebody. If you're not in love with them and you're not energizing the relationship with love, you may be able to stay, but you definitely are not going to have a flourishing and profitable relationship. So now let's get into what the reason why we are here. This is a session of prosperity in the midst of chaos. Not a coincidence. Elon chose a logo that emphasizes the earth element and prosperity. Earth having to do with the element which you get from ground, grass, parks, mountains. So you need to make sure that you have enough of the earth element. You cannot be disassociated. You cannot be a space cadet. You cannot spend your entire day playing games and then expect that your business is going to do well when you're doing business, you're actually thinking about getting back to gaming or getting back to your TV show or getting back to calling your cousin because she didn't finish telling you the family gossip. You need to be able to stay focused and grounded. So the next time you have a vacation, why don't you invest in your prosperity and go to a natural setting where you will get more of the earth element. Okay, so we are here to help you have the vibration of prosperity. You need to go to the park. You need to go to the mountains. You need to have pictures or watch documentaries, natural settings that emphasize your element of earth. But your mind has already been trained for decades. So let's start to retrain it to get it to focus on your prosperity. What is this whole focus thing all about? And I'm looking for I didn't think I had taken that down. Apparently I did. Okay. This is a sketch of a very real person. Notice the clenched hands. He has a sale goal. He met with his boss. They did a sales plan. It's in his desk. It got approved. He's going to do it. But look what's behind him, which ends up being his subconscious. He doesn't really want to work. He's very angry. He's not showing it. He's really very polished as a salesman and as an employee. He's very depressed. Now, it's going to be very difficult for him to make his sales goals because he has very little energy in his sales goal. And too much energy is being recycled, having to do with how he really feels about work. And what a shame that I cannot find the other sketch. So we are now going to work on those vectors that are in the back of you, that are your subconscious, and they're in the side of you. I will never forget Elon Musk saying that every employee in a company is a vector representing the company. Yes, this man's vector towards his sales goal is not going to get vitalized. The vectors are important. It's attention. So we're going to start with a purification mantra. The purification mantra acts like a vacuum cleaner. It does not reinforce how you feel. What it is admitting how you feel and then vacuuming it out through the repeating of the words and the breath. The mantra that we are going to do right now is, even though I'm afraid I won't have enough money, I love and accept myself. I'm going to write it down. I want you to, it's on the screen. I'm going to put it up. Oh dear. Okay. So go ahead and start repeating the words of the mantra in your head silently. Release your breath through your mouth. Have both of your feet on the ground. Have your hands in a hand position that is going to support prosperity, even in the midst of chaos. The two middle fingers are going to touch the thumb. The thumb represents the earth element. Notice the change in your breath. Put the back of your hands on top of your thighs. Your thighs are part of in the underworld, and it's where extreme hatred accumulates. Anytime you see somebody with heavy thighs, they're repressing a lot of anger. I have heavy thighs. I had to repress a lot of anger because I was a mind control victim. I couldn't complain. I was sex trafficked. I was child trafficked. Couldn't complain. I have very heavy thighs. You see heavy thighs? There's a chakra there that has to do with anger. If your thighs are heavy, then just do the mantra, even though I hate. And there's nothing I can do. I love and accept myself. But right now, we're going to do the purification mantra, having to do with fear that you're not going to have enough money. So keep repeating it silently in your head. Do not move your mouth with the words. And if you want, just let the words sink or direct the words through breath and intention to the root chakra, which is all about prosperity. It's in between your legs. So when you sit on the ground, you're actually nurturing your prosperity because your root chakra is very associated with prosperity. So keep breathing and keep releasing. And right now, I'm going to give you a healing, which is going to start with my favorite instrument. And I'm going to go to the back of your heart chakra, which is the most important energy center, and that includes with prosperity. And I'm giving you a healing right now. Keep breathing. And don't worry if you don't know what's happening. You don't need to know what's happening. You just need to feel inside your body. You need to feel your breath. You don't know where we're going? Well, the class says we're going to a place where you can have prosperity even in the midst of chaos, which might mean an economic collapse, big things happening, which a lot of people are feeling. Keep breathing. Keep the Apana Mudra, the back of your hands, on top of your legs, the top of your thighs. Even though I'm afraid I won't have enough money, I love and accept myself. Release the air and your breath through your mouth. See how much I've relaxed and how much slower I'm talking, which means I can energize things more. I'm not just flitting on top of things, which is what we do a lot because we're always in such a hurry, too much fire. Keep breathing. Now I'm going to put on stage something that can tell you where you're at right now, which is this dress was designed in gold and white. This is from a controversy 5 years ago, but it's really spectacular. If you're not seeing this as bright gold and very bright white, then your vibration and your frequency is low. Well, you can say, well, how do you know that? I mean, I could have a really high frequency and still see the dress blue and bronze. No. But you're going to know that because if you came into this session very heavy or erratic, and today's a full moon, so today we should all feel the Aquarius full moon is really good. By the way, we have an exorcism now at 8 o'clock tonight, and you might want to participate. There's a cost, it's $22, but you'll find that it's very easy to knock out spirits from your system. Okay, so look at the dress, and when we finish, I'm going to put the dress back on again. And if right now you can figure out from 1 to 10, how do you feel? Having to do with prosperity, your bank account. 1 is you feel awful, and 10 you feel great. Where are you at from 1 to 10? Okay? And then at the end, you're going to go back for yourself and figure out from 1 to 10 where you're at. And you should find that you came up 20 or 30 points, which is 20 or 30% in regard to your, in addition to just plain feeling better. Because anytime you do mantras, you feel better because you collect all of your energy bodies. All of these bodies collect, each in their dimension, because you have focused on something and you're doing a mantra. A little bit of lilac, somebody's seeing. And I'm not seeing the pink, but a lot of times I see it like with a veneer of pink. That's been in the last year and a half for a lot of us. 5 years ago, nobody saw pink. So we're going to, how are you feeling? Okay, I'm going to put this guy back up again. How are you doing in terms of what you do for a living? What brings you money? If your sales goal has to do with working for a company that you're really over, you're tired, you don't want to do it anymore, but you still have to be there, that's okay. That happens to a lot of us. And I'm going to suggest a mantra, which is a mission mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. So then the third thing I want to teach you today is most people that make a ton of money, including Elon Musk, movie stars, rappers, all the rest of that, they earn a lot of money when they're at the stage when they are just in love with what they're doing. And then when they fall out of love because they're tired, because they had problems and people sued them, they're not so happy anymore. And their success starts to wane. But if you do the mantra for mission, prosperous mission, you can be okay where you are right now, because that is obviously where you have to be right now. And that's okay, as long as you have declared yourself ready to align with your prosperous mission. So let's get into the heavy duty 10 minutes worth of the intention mantra having to do with prosperity. Here is the mantra. So I'll talk a couple minutes as you're looking at the mantra and breathing it in, but I'm going to put the music, the mantrista music on that stimulates the root chakra, which is where most of the energies of prosperity are in us. That's the chakra that's in between your legs, and that's the chakra that is associated with the earth element, which is why I'm sending you to Parks. So the mantra is, please God, help me with my intention to be prosperous, even in the midst of chaos. Now, why am I kind of insisting that you leave the words even in the midst of chaos? Because maybe something big and bad is going to happen. And I want you, for when that happens, you pick up the newspaper, you don't do that anymore. You turn on your cell phone, you look at the TV, or somebody tells you that something god awful has happened that you know should affect your prosperity. I want you to remember this mantra and go, oh, I'm in training to be prosperous, even in the midst of chaos. And this is chaos, but I'm in training and aligned to be prosperous anyway, even if there's chaos. And that is the reason why I left those words there. Okay, so I'm going to put the music on. We're going to do 10 minutes. 2 feet on the ground. Release the breath through your mouth. If you do this hand position, okay? If you do this hand position, you should find that your mind is not wandering off as easily. And if you breathe into your root chakra, which is in between your legs, it'll be even harder for you to disassociate and mentally wander off. We need you here. We need you inside your physical body. We don't need just you here with the screen on. We need all of you here. And we need all of you pointed in one direction. Okay, all these bodies, one inside the other, the Russian dolls, pointed in one direction, rather than this gentleman here, who looks like he's pointed in a direction, but not really. He's struggling with inner demons. We don't want you to be doing that. If you cannot leave your job and you're unhappy, you do the mission mantra. Please God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. And you don't have to do it very much. This mantra that you're going to be doing now for 10 minutes, and if somebody would put it up there on the chat, I would appreciate it. This is the one that's going to get you where you want to go. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. And I wish you luck. So in exactly 10 minutes, we will end. But if you have some interesting experiences, meanwhile, you're welcome to put them up on the chat, which will stay open. Not on screen, but it will be there. You'll be able to see it. Okay.
was shorter than the 10 minutes it was supposed to be. Okay, I worked on your root chakra while you were doing the mantra. I was able to get it to spin in the correct direction, that's from right to left. And I have decided, now that I decided to really integrate in Twitter, in English, that rather than holding back a lot of information that I hold back because I'm afraid that particular crowd are not up to it, are going to get turned off, I'm not going to do that because honestly, there's really no time. Did you want to sit with me? It's okay. Come on. You made me look bad because I went to get you something and then I wasn't here. Come on. Okay. So I worked on your root chakra, which is in between your legs. It's supposed to be the color red. It was not the color red. It was the color black. So all of you, that includes me, are depressed about your prosperity or are depressed about your root, which has to do also with security. I have a lot of security issues. I'm sure a lot of you do. But I was able to get it to move in the right direction, not the right color, but the right direction. And I found that there was a lot of metallic wiring in there. What does that mean? That means ET interference, bad spirits, galactic from off planet interference in your root chakra. You do not need to believe me. But maybe now, when you ask yourself how you're feeling, and when you look at the dress, maybe you will be able to tell the difference. Yes, I see it a lot more gold, a lot shinier. How do you see it? And in terms of numbers, from 1 to 10, where were you at before and where are you at now? Now, this is a good photograph to put on your refrigerator. Why? Because when you have a panic attack or you go into a rage, that dress will no longer look white and gold. For a lot of you, it will change to blue and bronze, at which time you will know that your vibration went down. And we critically need to have a higher vibration now because the planet is on a tipping point having to do with moving forward or moving down. You want to be in the part of the group that's moving forward. That's in the Bible. The Mayans said it. Some people would get left behind and others would be swept away from danger. Whatever version of that happens to happen, that dress can tell you when your vibration is going south, which will affect everything in your life. When you are at a point where nothing that you touch turns to gold, that dress is going to show you that. When you're in a good vibration, you can see the gold. My logo, years ago, I found that if I was in a really good place, and I could see gold around my logo, and my logo never changed. And then I would show it to people, and they would not see the gold. And then I'd say, okay, do me a favor, do the hate mantra 10 times. Even though I hate, I love and accept myself. Even though I hate, I love and accept myself. And then after 10 times, I show them the photo, the dress, and they can see it white and gold rather than the blue and bronze. And they can see my logo with a little bit of gold around it. Same picture I showed them 3 minutes before. And that is what creation of reality is all about. You're going to create at your level. Your vibration is going to touch everything. Everything you touch will turn to gold because you're golden. Your vibration is. Or everything you touch does not turn to gold. Like Areli is saying, for 2 months, all opportunities have been taken from her. It was already hers and it got taken away. I think you already did an analysis. Did we clear everything, Areli, even though I know you're constantly under threats having to do with jealous competitors? But you have to constantly be monitoring your vibration. And vibration is simply a word that would indicate the frequency of the strings of your mind, which are what create reality. And if your mind strings are droopy and depressed and confused, and I don't really want to do that, you're not going to be able to create that golden opportunity, or what you have is not going to turn into gold, or what you had that was gold is not going to be gold any longer. So when I look at my logo now, my logo has yellow around it. It has gold around it. And every time I see that, it makes me very happy, because I know that then all this work has been worth it. How is your vibration? How can you tell? Is everything you touch turning to gold? And now I'm going to use a mundane example. Get a woman that comes and says, my husband is leaving me. He found another woman. He's having an affair. And I'll go, okay, when was the last time you had sex? Which basically means, when was the last time you guys were really a couple? Well, no, it's been a while, but that has nothing to do with it. Oh, nothing to do with it. What you're doing, or the way that you're doing it, or you leave it and go to some place that you're in love with, or something that you're in love with. I'm not talking couples now. I'm back to prosperity. The other couple is just example is just so obvious. So if you're not making what you used to make, check and see if before you didn't love what you did, and now you're too tired, you're too irritable, you're too angry at the people that took from you. All of those things turn you into this man. Except I could have put a smile on his face, because most of the people that show up for work today, over 70% of the people that work today for a living, are not committed to their jobs. They're not committed to what they do. And a lot of people that own companies are not committed. I had to leave my company because I was no longer committed. I showed up because I'm very disciplined, but I was not committed. Somebody said, I'm getting married. Rather than being happy, I wanted to strangle them, which is exactly what happened to my income, my sales. They got strangled. You energize everything. Your frequency energizes everything. And if you find that walking in the park, you feel less stressed, means you're healthier. It also means that your mind is healthier. And at that point, you can create more gold in your life. And I'm not talking gold as in gold in terms of bank. I'm talking gold in terms of equality. You can have what you want, but you create it. And the filter to the creation is your mind, which includes all the memories of awful things that happened. And it also includes how you legitimately feel about something. Make sure you're in love with what you do for a living, because that is the single thing that can help you to get what it is that you want in terms of prosperity. And I would like to remind you that being prosperous is not necessarily having a lot of money in a bank account. Like right now, I feel more prosperous. And I know some of you are going to think, I got Starlink, which is Elon Musk's connections that you can get to their satellites. In case anything happens to the internet, you're still going to have internet, because you're connected directly through Starlink to the satellites. You have to buy an apparatus. It's around $600, and the service a month is like $150. The $150 is basically what we're paying anyway. And the $600 one-time fee is very well worth it. So I feel prosperous in that way. Why? Because when we look in the future, everybody is talking about a time in which maybe we won't have internet for a little while. So being able to have internet when there is no internet is being prosperous. So what's your version of prosperity? Maybe you're working for money and that's not what prosperity is to you. I have friends that honestly should be living on a farm and they live a very luxurious life, not so happy. If they moved on a farm, they would have less income, but they would be more prosperous. It's a vibration. So you need to figure out what you like and what you love. And there you have the mantra. And you can come back to this chat and you can get it, or you can email the office and we'll send you a copy of that beautiful little Ganesh, which is the symbol for prosperity. The elephant, the elephant is also the symbol for the first chakra, which is where I gave you all a healing. Okay? I'm being told by somebody that all my comments are being not here. The comments on the different platforms are getting monitored. And that if there's 3 comments, only 1 shows up. And I already know that that is the case. So in the future, I'm going to be prosperous in terms of maybe freedom and social movement. Being a free person in social movement, because I'm not. I'm in jail, including in Twitter. I haven't complained yet, but I will be complaining this week because the numbers make me feel unprosperous, and that is not a good thing. So we will be back here again on Monday. But for now, those of you that are here, and there's not that many of you, but those of you that are here, how did you improve with these very few minutes? It ended up being less than 10 minutes because that music video is less than 10 minutes. How is it that you feel? And remember that, so that when you get worried about money, when you discuss money with your husband or your family, or with yourself, having to do with writing a check or whatever it is, paying a bill, how do you feel about it? And if you feel you're afraid you're not going to have enough money, then you have to go back to the first purification mantra we showed you today, which is, even though I'm afraid I'm not going to have enough money, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid I won't have enough money, I love and accept myself. Purification mantra and the intention mantra. So we'll see you next week, having to do with prosperity. We will be here on Thursday, and I don't remember what the theme is, but at some point we're going to start with the creating peace plan. Not the peace plan, the creating peace. And the definition of peace, by the way, in the dictionary, root definition is a tranquil mind, which is what the mantras and these kind of sessions give you, okay? Have a great rest of the evening.